Hi everyone, I'm here with Matthew Vamplew from Paranimo.
Hooray!
So tell us, Matt, what is Paranimo?
So Paranimo is a mental health technology company, and we're looking to basically help people, whoever they are in the UK, doesn't matter, get access to the right support. And that's basically come from my own experience of basically trying to access therapy when I was went on the NHS, and then also I decided to go privately, and that kind of made me realise that actually something needs to be done to improve the problems of accessibility and complexity.
Yeah, definitely. I've been there too. Okay, I know it's tricky. So we've never met. We've spoken for quite a few months now.
Yeah.
So you started this thing really during the pandemic, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah.
So tell me about your team, who you work with, and how it all came about.
So, well, I had the idea, as I said, from my own experience of getting therapy, and that was just so eye-opening, just to realise that it's so hard to find the right therapist, and because the NHS has got such long waiting list, you just think, hang on, something has to be done better to support that long waiting list by getting therapy privately. So when I came up with the idea of the online platform that matches people to the right support anywhere in the UK, I set up with my co-founder Dan, and I said, Dan, you know what, we've got to do something. We've got to try and change the way things are done. And he was like, sure, let's do it. I'll jump on board. He's finished his PhD, and he's like, let's do it. I want a challenge. It's something that I can get on board with. And he himself went through his own experience of therapy too. Okay. So that was kind of what we thought, together we can try and make a difference, basically.
Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, so we've done some research together of therapists, what problems they face, and what problems people do face and actually continue to face trying to find the right therapist. And we realized that we're onto something here, because the two problems of accessibility and that complexity still exists, the two problems that we're trying to solve. So I said, when COVID hit, Innovate UK released a grant funding for us. Well, not for us, but we'll get to that in a bit. And basically, there's 8,600 applications for 800 places, and that was basically for companies that were sort of doing a social good, and actually trying to do more during the COVID-19 pandemic to help out with things like physical well-being, mental well-being, etc. And lots of applications, and we won the grant, just under 50 grand, which was amazing. And for us, that kind of set us on the path of, okay, we've got something good, we really are sort of on the right track. And then from that point, we started to speak to other organizations. And I think it was around the time, I think we may have been introduced to you actually, Andrea, around that time, because we'd spoken to and soon signed a partnership with the National Counselling Society, which is one of the biggest associations in the UK for therapists. And that was all because of that grant that we won, and that was just amazing. And that kind of propelled us forward, what with the grant and that partnership. And then when so this is still during the COVID-19 pandemic, people mental health getting worse and people are struggling, and then Innovate UK released a second grant as well, and we won that too, which was amazing. I couldn't believe it. And that really sort of set the foundations for our launch, which was December the 1st. And it's been a heck of a journey to date, and we've now evolved from helping people, just individuals, to also SMEs, and charities as well, as we found that issues I've spoken about, the accessibility and the complexity, are challenges that are faced by employees for small companies, but also for charities too. And we realized that our solution can be used for both those groups as well. So we've kind of had to shift as a business to kind of focus on those, but the problems still remain. And the fact that they haven't been solved yet kind of gives me confidence that that we're doing the right thing.
It's an amazing journey. It's happened like pretty quickly,
Mm.
like from you know, the conception of the idea to then you realizing, oh, actually we've actually got something here, now we've got to do this. Like,
Yeah.
we said we were going to do this, so now we need to make it. But what so are there any things that you wish you'd kind of known before you started that you know now that would have like eased it, or has it just been this kind of like amazing learning journey? I don't know, how's it felt to you?
Yeah, it's been, I think you're right, an amazing learning journey. I think things I wish I'd learned or done differently, I don't know. I mean, doing a technology business is hard. There's no doubt about it. There's a
Yeah,
difference in terms of, you know, if you are like a consultancy, you're essentially selling your services, and that's one way to price it. But if you are doing a technology business, there's a heck of a lot more things to think about. You know,
yeah,
like everything from, you know, technology management, everything to like running the company, however long you think something's going to take, it's going to take longer.
yeah,
That is for sure.
yeah,
And I mean, that's, I think, been the biggest learning experience, quite frankly.
yeah,
Everything takes longer than you think.
yeah,
But I always say to other entrepreneurs and stuff that want to get into the space of doing your own company, I think the irony is that having a sense of purpose is kind of a therapy unto itself, which is kind of weird.
yeah,
I
yeah,
wrote a blog on that, which you remember that you helped me get out there. Thank you.
yeah,
So that was decent. But I think I'd always say you just have to be like resilient. And I didn't realize how hard it was going to be, but also I think having that sense of purpose makes it durable.
yeah,
That makes sense.
definitely. And I mean, I think if you kind of knew at the start how hard it was going to be, you probably wouldn't start most of the things in the world. I think like there's that kind of, there's a joy in naivety at that
Yeah.
moment, like starting it. But yeah, I think I've seen when I've spoken to you when you've won the grant, it's like, okay, other people believe in what we're
Oh, massively.
doing,
Yeah.
and that really boosted you, that okay, like, yeah, this is, we're on the right path, like other
Yeah.
people believe it. Yeah,
Definitely. Like, yeah, I truly believe that what we're doing is right.
mm,
And I think they were on the right path. I think there's still a long road ahead, but it's looking very promising from all like the different charities that we're talking with and going to be signing with to help them essentially help the vulnerable groups that they represent get access to the
okay,
right support, and they can essentially fund what we call therapy credits,
yeah,
so that they can basically pay for therapy that their people that they represent couldn't.
that's
Which has been
brilliant.
that's really nice to be able to do that as a company, to actually
Yeah,
go, you know, whilst we are, you know, a profit making company, to actually be able to work with charities to help them fund therapy for people that couldn't afford it,
yeah,
using the way that we do things through matching to the right therapist is really, it's really cool. Yeah, it's really
yeah,
cool.
that is really cool. And what have the therapists said? How are the, you know, that side of it? Because I know from my point of view, I know how looking for a therapist is quite tricky, because you're kind of like stabbing in the dark a little bit before a service like Paranimo came along. But what about the therapist? What have they said to you?
Um, so we've had loads of good feedback from therapists. So a lot of them are saying things like, you know, that they feel like they're working with the client that's right for them.
No.
Because what's really interesting is that whilst we look at matching for people to the right therapist, we're also looking to help therapists get access to the right clients, because that
Yeah.
kind of helps with a better match. And that's been interesting. And I haven't mentioned before, but we did a pilot study, to basically measure the effectiveness of the way that we do things, that we match, you know, people to the right therapist. And 100% of all therapists said that they got the right clients.
That's
Amazing.
wonderful.
And then 93.3% of all people that got, you know, matched to their therapist were happy with their therapist. So that kind of shows that what we're trying to do with matching works.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
really, really good. That's really good. So what's next? What's your next so the next couple of months, what have you got like coming up for you? I'm sure lots.
Yeah, so we're launching, I said to you before, for the properly, we've been working with some charities already, but sort of, I guess it's the relaunch, I should say, of what we call Paranimo Connect, so the proposition to work with charities. And
Yeah,
also Paranimo Connect will be also working with small to medium sized enterprises too. So that's going to be coming, so end of May we'll be launching the charities, and then beginning of no, end of May as well, actually, if I get the timelines right, the SME stuff, which is cool.
yeah,
And then we're looking to sign up with a couple of charities that are essentially waiting for us to finish the launch.
yeah,
And then really we're just trying to get more partnerships with more charities, more small businesses to want to work with us to sort of help them to support their employees.
yeah,
And also one thing that's interesting I haven't mentioned that we're building into the roadmap is the ability for people, organizations and charities to measure the effectiveness of the mental health therapy they're providing.
great.
So we're kind of changing the way that we position ourselves, not just from the solution to deliver effective therapy, but also to measure the effectiveness of that therapy. Because
Yeah,
as a business, you could use that information to sort of understand the sort of baseline of your organization's mental health and work out if the money that you're putting into it is beneficial, but also for charities, they can use that knowledge to raise further funds to fund therapy for the people that they can't afford it,
yeah.
which is
Oh,
amazing.
that's great. Yeah, that's really good. It's fascinating, Matt, always speaking to you, and thanks for a whistle-stop tour of
That's
Paranimo.
okay.
We will put all the links to your social and your website so people
Yep.
can have a look. Yeah, it's a joy to meet, and virtually as we have so far,
Yeah.
the people who have had an idea and they've just got on and created something, and it's just to see that journey. It's always great because so many people have amazing ideas and so very few of them actually manage to make like the business.
I agree. Like, it's taking the idea from idea to launch is hard, but if you feel passionate enough about it, I think you just have to, as I said, if you've got that purpose, it gives you the resolve to kind of overcome those challenges. And I said my own experience of getting the therapy made me realize that the problem still exists, so it needs to be solved.
Yeah,
that's how we're doing it.
brilliant. Thanks so much for your time, Matt.
Nice one, thanks.